And I'm delighted to introduce our next speaker, Dame Jo Williams, who is the chair at Alderhay, and prior to that held various leadership roles across public services. I've also had the pleasure of working under Dame Jo's courageous leadership in reimagining care for children and young people. So I'm really looking forward to hearing Jo's perspective. So over to you, Jo.
Thanks very much, Naeem, and thanks very much for inviting me to participate. Could I have the first slide, please? I think, as colleagues have said, there's absolutely no simple solutions to some of the things that are happening at the moment, but I think there are changes that offer both providers and our patients opportunities and hope. And just for example, innovation had been mentioned already, but new drugs, genomics, AI, sorry, Sally, but AI is important, robotics, and a recognition that good health is about a multiplicity of socio-economic factors, and we can only improve health and well-being by collaboration and partnership, working together, public, private sector, voluntary sector, and the commercial sector. So it's with a sense of humility as chair of Alderhay that I offer just a few thoughts about leadership and tackling some of the challenges that are facing us and some of the things that we're doing at Alderhay. So with the help of Strasys, about 3 years ago, we developed our vision for 2030 and beyond. And it began with us using data to identify who uses our service. And then through consultation with children, young people and their families, we had a better understanding of their needs and expectations. We developed a vision, a healthier, happier and fairer future where all children and young people can achieve their full potential. But we identified in broad terms 4 groups that we were dealing with. So a group of children who were saying, just get me well, get me in and out quickly. I want to carry on playing football and go back to school. And then a significant group who have a range of comorbidities, and we recognise they want a much more personalised care wrapped around them with really joined up and connected services. And then a group who we needed to improve their life chances, children, young people in deprived communities where their health was limited by a range of factors outside what we could control. And finally, a group of youngsters who said, come on, adults, solve the problems, cure cancer in children, and really start and make the future brighter for all children and young people. So children and young people are absolutely at the heart of everything that we do, and their voice really matters. And it's interesting that in introducing this vision, this new way of thinking, we really have had clinical buy-in led by our medical director, but also clinicians. For example, one of our respiratory clinicians has been developing a programme to train mums in communities to help other mums when a child has a respiratory condition, and it's reduced attendance in our emergency department significantly. So what does this vision mean for us in reality? Well, I think it's a recognition for us that we have to focus on the vision, bringing hope, and we're ambitious and we aspire to do great things for children and young people. But also in terms of day-to-day business as usual, we really have to get a grip and we have to concentrate on quality, safety, and also within our budget. So getting the basics right is absolutely vital. Could I have the next slide, please? I think when things are tough, as the environment is now, there's a temptation to focus on the money and structural change. But for us, the priority is transformation. transforming how we think, how we deliver, and how we do things around here. And it means, as the slide indicates, that we have to keep the vision in mind. It's our North Star, focus on it, but at the same time, delivering those basic, safe, quality services. And doing things differently needs full participation from everyone, and particularly clinical leadership. And we are beginning to live and breathe this change programme. We've recognised that we can't achieve this unless we take care of the people who work within the trust. So we've been looking at our culture, and at the heart of it is compassionate care. And that means not only how we treat our patients, but also each other. So we're rethinking our values. And although it's work in progress, we're clear we're one community, and we do the right things for children and families with compassion, courage, and commitment. And we do that for each other as well. So we need to be courageous and embrace innovation and change. And that's as an individual, but as part of a community. And so we have to work across and through boundaries, and that's not easy, but ensuring, of course, that I seem to have lost the slides, but ensuring that we champion diversity and inclusivity. And that means that Alderhay is a place where everyone belongs. At the centre of the slide, we have identified 5 collaboratives, and all those collaboratives have a financial plan and a set of metrics. And we're trying to take a multi-year approach. And we're seeing trust-wide engagement and increased mutual accountability. Could I have the next slide, please? So what does this mean for the kind of leadership? Well, just a few points to make here, really. Firstly, empowerment and engagement at all levels. Really, everyone across the trust thinking about how can I improve patient care? What can I do that's different? And then secondly, distributed leadership. We simply can't deliver this change programme and hit our targets alone. We have to work with partners, and it's a team approach across the trust internally as well. And then thirdly, we have to be courageous. Let's know what our risk appetite is. How do we keep us safe? And a real focus through the assurance committees on financial sustainability, safety and quality, and also looking after our workforce. And it's about listening, listening leadership, listening to patients, governors, staff, and if necessary, changing direction. And if we can do that with agility, so much the better. That listening to hear with curiosity and showing kindness is really one of the ways in which I think we can make some progress. So finally, I think there are 3 critical roles for leaders. We have to make tough decisions, and increasingly that's the case, about which services we might not continue to deliver. And then delivering, as I've described, but always learning, reviewing and rethinking what we do. And it's true to say that sometimes the things that go wrong give us the richest source of learning. So we have to face our tigers and our ghosts and confront them, and it's not easy. So thank you.
Thank you, Dame Jo. What a line to finish off as well. And I think what was really interesting to hear from you is, with a backdrop which is quite chaotic in terms of there's a lot of uncertainty, there's a lot of competing priorities. What you and the exec team used was the patient voices and what the patient really needs as a North Star, and saying, look, what is it we need to do to make that happen? And what's also interesting is listening to Sally and Nizam and trying to make the connections. There is a kind of a tension between innovation, technology, but also the capital investment required. and what is going to deliver the biggest return on investment. So I think these are all really interesting dynamics, which I'd love to kind of explore. But it remains, in terms of the conversation so far, remains kind of a big unknown in terms of how do we make that big shift? How do we make that shift which is going to release that significant trapped value, because there is no more money, and where is that value, and do we need more investment to release that? So in terms of the term I used earlier on when I was doing the context around trapped value, what we need to understand and what we need to get perspective on is, well, is that really difficult? Or do we need to change the way we're working and how we work to actually release those trapped values?